In this practice, you'll explore your body as a dynamic, floating structure held by a living web of fascia. Inspired by the Tensegrity model, you'll play with stretch, rebound, and creative movement to cultivate balance, fluidity, and resilient strength.
So in this practice, we're going to play with the tensegrity model of the body. And in this model, you'll see it in my hands. There's both straws and elastic bands. And you'll notice none of the straws are touching, they're floating within the tensional matrix of the elasticity of the bands. And for a moment, we can just close our eyes and imagine our bones, instead of stacked like scaffolding, they're floating within the tensional matrix of the fascia. So play with just shifting your weight side to side. And notice how your bones adjust within the tensional matrix of the fascia. You can play with small little undulations. And fascia researchers will say this is a better model for the body because one reason is there's no up or down. If we were scaffolding stacked on top of bones stacked on top of each other, as soon as you did a handstand, you would fall over. Whereas in this model, there's no up or down. And you'll also notice as forces come in, the model, the fascia tensegrity model, adjusts and distributes the forces. So there's a kind of felt sense in your body of this omnidirectional distribution of forces. So again, closing your eyes, shifting weight, can you sense as you undulate forward or side to side an omnidirectional, multidirectional distribution of forces through your body as this tensegrity model? I like to bring my weight to the edges of my feet and circle round and notice all the ways the force of the floor coming up through my body is distributed, and go the other way. And then coming back to the model, you'll notice when forces come in, like my hand pressing in, the model receives and then rebounds. So it does not brace or harden in response to the forces. There's a receptivity, a receiving, yielding into the force, and then a rebounding. So let's just bring that kind of quality of elasticity in our body. We can start with our arms, play with throwing an arm and letting the arm bounce back. And we all have different degrees of elasticity in our body. So for some people, you might have to bring the arm back before it goes into hyperextension. So notice what your body does. And instead of going into extension, contraction, we're going to go into stretch and recoil, throw and return. You might find this a little easier to do, so it's not as much effort. Go to the side. And then you can bring that into your legs. So there's like a kick and a recoil. You can imagine your legs are attached way up between, just below your ribs, and you're stretching this elastic stretch and recoil. So just play with that, this resilient body. And resiliency here is the ability to receive and distribute the pressures coming in from the floor. And if you have a chair or a wall or a desk, you can play with receiving that and pushing away. So instead of bracing, there's a receiving and push away. Receive and push. And you can add little twists in this tensegrity receptive body. Cupid's arrow, there's a stretch and a recoil. Stretch and recoil. And try the other side. And then bring that in. Whenever you twist, you might find this twist and recoil, twist and recoil. You might notice you're soft in your joints to be able to do this kind of movement, or you can just stand still and come back to this stretch and recoil with your arms or your legs. And every so often you could try finding a small balance. And in the balance, find all the places where you can find a little pulse or movement. So it's not a rigid or a flat balance. It's a multi-directional balance. And notice how you're transferring the forces coming in my case, my arm and my leg, throughout the whole balancing body. So it's not a static balance. Find a couple of these balances. You can have two legs. And let your balances transition. So there's this play in the balance. And there's a kind of readiness to go somewhere else. And there's an ability to fall and catch. Fall and catch. Receive the forces, distribute them throughout the whole tensegrity structure. You can try lower or on your tiptoes. And let that just for a minute bring you into a small improv, bringing all of these qualities in. Throw and catch, stretch, release, balance in a kind of receptive way. You can even come in and out of a chair, receiving the chair with your sit bones and coming out. So it's a different quality of motion. And the beauty of the models we play with is each model will bring a different kind of felt sense along with it. So for a moment, close your eyes. Come back to sensing the body as bones floating within the tensional matrix of the fascia. The fascia is a viscous goo in your body. And can you feel this kind of catch and throw or push and pull, even as you come into a kind of stillness?